Good evening. My name is Aaron Day. Welcome to my video series, which I'm going to call Daylight. The purpose of this video series is to share information that can help you thrive during the coronavirus and financial collapse and beyond. Last night, we discussed the ongoing financial collapse and what's going on with the banking system. And I suggested as the tip of the day that you actually go to the bank and withdraw as much cash as you can, which turns out to be a pretty good idea because even after yesterday's $1.7 trillion worth of QE and repo, they've added another more than $1 trillion worth of bailouts today. And the Federal Reserve is now buying stock as well as commercial paper. So this is going to be, and already is, the biggest amount of inflation we've seen in the monetary system. And so for all of those reasons, and the market is still not really reacting all that well after hours. So you're better off taking your money off the table and pursuing other options. Tonight, I have a very specific set of slides that I'm going to walk through, and the focus is really on cryptocurrency. This is not going to be a particularly technical presentation at all. In fact, my target audience here is really not people that are already in crypto. I think one of the things that's been problematic with crypto is it hasn't really been explained in a very easy way or shown to be particularly easy to use. And I think that is now possible. And so what I would like to do is actually walk through how to do that. And at the end, for those that are interested in actually testing this out, who would actually like to receive some free crypto, which I have Ravencoin that I'm giving out, you can text me your mobile number and I can actually send crypto right to your cell phone. You don't need to install any software at all. It's really that easy. Just I SMS message you cryptocurrency and boom, it's there in your wallet. So with that said, I am going to jump right in. Let's see if we can, having some problems with the slides. Let me see if I can, there we go. So first I want to talk about how the current system works a little bit so you can get a handle on how complex it is and how many intermediaries there are in the process. What you see here is this is the flow of how credit cards work. So when you go to a store, you give the merchant your credit card. They then swipe the card. A credit card processor then takes that information, sends it to Visa. Visa then sends a ticket to the bank. The bank sends a bill to the customer. Visa then credits the processor for their part in the transaction. Then Visa gets paid, and then the customer pays the bank. So there are a lot of people involved in the transaction. There are a lot of different organizations, a lot of entities. This is why, as you'll see in the next few slides, it's actually fairly expensive and time-consuming to use a credit card. With cryptocurrency, the process is really simple. If you want to send somebody money, you download a wallet, which is typically an app that you can have on your computer or on your phone, or as I will show you later through Cointext, you don't even need to download a wallet. You can actually use your cell phone, as is with no additional software, to send and receive cryptocurrency. You put in the address of the person that you want to send the cryptocurrency to, and then I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but there are essentially thousands of computers decentralized all over the world that are performing very difficult mathematical calculations. And when they solve those calculations, they then process the transactions and then send the payment to whoever the recipient is, to their wallet, directly to their wallet. So there's no middleman here. There's a network of computers solving these complex math problems. So you don't need bankers, you don't need lawyers, you don't need policymakers, credit card processors, Visa. It's literally this kind of magic that goes on in the middle. And I'm going to leave it at that level of simplicity for now because I just want to show really how it works and what the benefits are relative to the current system. So I want to talk about, first of all, one area, which is what are the transaction fees if you are using crypto versus fiat? And the cryptocurrency I'm going to be talking about today is Ravencoin. That's a cryptocurrency that I happen to like, but there are a number of different cryptocurrencies, and I'm not giving any investment advice. You can learn more about them, but I'll explain how you can use Ravencoin and how that stacks up and how the economics work as compared to credit card transactions. So let's say, for example, we go to the store and we want to do a $5 transaction. We want to buy a couple bottles of water, whatever it happens to be. The credit card company will charge typically 30 cents plus 2.9% of the transaction amount. So on a $5 transaction, it actually costs the merchant $44.5 cents in fees to the credit card company and to the processor for actually completing the transaction. So, that's whether you think that's expensive or not. Well, we can get to the comparison with respect to crypto. If I send you $5 or you pay $5 using Ravencoin, the cost on that using Cointext, for example, is 0.00584 Raven. Raven is trading today at about 1.3 cents each. So the actual cost to do this transaction is $0.00075. So this is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of 1 cent. So there's really no comparison between crypto and credit cards with respect to being able to do transactions. And there's something amazing that happens when you have transaction fees that are this low. You can actually start to do micropayments, and that opens up a whole new world of business models in ways that people can engage in commerce. So for instance, we're on YouTube right now. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it happens to be, these are, quote, free services, but they're not free services. You are giving up massive amounts of your personal information. You are targeted and bombarded continuously with ads. But with crypto, you could actually do micropayments. So imagine you paid 1/100th of a cent every time you did a Google search. No ads, and you pay this fractional amount of money. Or instead of downloading a movie, you pay for how much of the movie you actually watched. There are completely different ways that in ecosystems and business models that come about when you have the ability to do microtransactions, and that is not possible with fiat, with the US dollar, or with credit cards. The next thing I want to talk about, this is particularly important today, which is crypto versus fiat with respect to the supply. So how many of these dollars are out there, and what does that mean with respect to inflation? It used to be that the dollar was tied to gold, but under the Nixon administration, that was changed. So there's nothing backing the US dollar. It is literally an IOU that has nothing to back it up except your, full faith in the credit of the United States government, which, to be honest with you, I don't know where you are right now, but that doesn't seem like a particularly attractive proposition at this moment in time. So this is a graph of how the money supply has grown. And you can see, this is an exponential growth curve. And just today, just this week, there's been an additional $2 trillion pumped into the system. So you have politicians deciding we're going to bail out airlines, we're going to bail out banks, we're going to bail out this group, we're going to pump money in, we're going to allow companies to put up junk mortgages for collateral and give them cash for that. We're going to give them cash for stocks. And so here's what the effect of that is, because this has been going on for quite some time. Since 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, the dollar has lost 95% of its value. So a dollar is now worth 5 cents. And that's 2019 numbers. Honestly, this doesn't even include what's happened in the last couple of weeks. So, we're talking about the dollar having lost 97% of its value as a result of this endless money printing that is going on. So there's no end in sight. You never know, but maybe they'll create 40 trillion more dollars tomorrow. And that just pushes down the value of the currency. And we have over 100 years of data to show what the effect is of that endless money printing. So Ravencoin, on the other hand, has a supply that will go up to no more than 21 billion. It's 5.74 billion today. And the way new Ravencoin come about is through this process of mining, this technical process of solving these equations and confirming these transactions. So again, I'm going to spare you the details of how that works. You can look that up after this. But the important point is with respect to understanding, is this a good currency or not? It is capped There's an absolute fixed supply. There will never be more than 21 billion Ravencoin. So there are no politicians involved. Nobody's making decisions to inflate this. It's a system. It's a network that is there specifically to process transactions. The next is a really interesting point, from my perspective, which is crypto versus fiat. Whose money is it anyway? I mean, do you really have a sense that you own your money? First of all, banks can fail. I mean, this is a picture, and you hear these stories about bank failures as if it's only something that happened during the Great Depression. Certainly, we have the FDIC. There's some insurance, and there's some other things. But let's not forget. I remember watching the financial crisis last time very closely. There were a number of complete bank failures. You had the savings and loan crisis in the 80s, and you had actual bank failures. You had 157 bank failures in 2010 alone. Your bank could fail now. In fact, I'd argue there's a high probability based on what's going on with debt, corporate debt, personal debt, pensions, and everything else. And we still have these risky mortgage securities. There's a high probability you're going to have either bank failures or printing money to such a degree that the inflation on the money and the devaluation of that money makes it close to useless. On top of that, banks can close for no reason. You probably can't see the screenshot particularly well, but a friend of mine just had his business TD Bank account closed, and I believe his personal account and his wife's as well. They just arbitrarily decided, they said, look, we want to close your account. And we don't have to give you a reason because here's the contract, and the contract says we don't have to give you a reason. We can just shut your account, get the money out by the end of next week, or we'll send a check to whatever address we have on file. So banks can do that. I mean, if you actually read the fine print in the contract that you have, they literally can do a whole bunch of other things. The other thing is we've accepted things with the banking system. For at least now to a certain degree, we have ATMs and there's some online banking. But I know when I was growing up, the idea is, well, you have to work within bankers' hours, and bankers work from like 8 to 3:30 and all this other stuff. I mean, we live in a technological age that's 24/7 now. And yet we are still confined to only certain hours when we can do certain things. If you want to take out money through your ATM, there are all of these different rules. Why are there limits on how much money I can take out of my own account through an ATM? And yet they're there. You can see PNC Bank, average with ATM withdrawal limit, $500. All of these other daily purchase limits. I mean, this is absurd. So is it even really your money if it's in a bank? And of course, the court can come in and seize your bank accounts. The government can come in and freeze your bank accounts. There are a whole lot of ways that you can be impaired from getting access to your money. But with crypto, it's different. When you have this wallet and the corresponding password or keys that go along with it, it's your money. Once you have that, which comes with great responsibility, but when you have your crypto in your wallet, it's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. Nobody can touch it. It's not being held in custody by another third party. It is literally your money. You can do whatever you want at any time of the day. No limits. There are absolutely no constraints on what you do with it. So it is your money. Whereas again, with the banking system, the bank goes bust, arbitrary rule changes, bank holidays, you really don't know if you're going to get access to it. The other thing is the World Health Organization actually mentioned just recently with this coronavirus that the coronavirus can actually be spread through currency. And the Chinese government was actually deploying and using UV technology to try to wipe out the germs. And this is from a Time article from a long time ago. That it's been known for a long time that the flu virus can last on money for 17 days. And so that's an extreme amount of time. So paper currency has been a vector for all kinds of diseases. It's kind of disgusting if you look at what is actually on money. I mean, everything from germs, fecal matter, residue from drugs. It's that doesn't happen. Cryptocurrency, Ravencoin, Bitcoin, all these, they're digital currencies. They're literally stored on a device. They're ones and zeros. And so you don't have to deal with any worry about physical contamination. You also don't have to worry about counterfeiting either because of the way that the security is structured. And again, this applies to certain cryptocurrencies. There are a lot out there. Some have completely different models, but the ones that operate off of the original Bitcoin white paper and blueprint share these characteristics that I'm mentioning. So, I mean, this is just one other graphic that I'll share is you can't do that with crypto. I mean, literally, it's kind of a joke. You can Google it. Google, cocaine and money, and you'll see all kinds of pictures. It's just kind of notorious for, all of the illicit kinds of activities are still done with the U.S. dollar. So with that said, I hope I've made a simple case for why you ought to consider crypto versus the dollar, particularly as we go into this period of uncertainty, particularly when you don't know whether your money's going to be there when you go to the bank tomorrow and there's emergency trillions of dollars being pumped into your bank and pumped into your financial institutions. And so for those of you that have no experience with crypto, I'm going to give out not a lot of money, 10 cents, 20 cents, whatever it is, but to the first 100 people that reach out to me and give me your mobile number, and literally I will just SMS you some crypto, and you literally will get a text message, and it will tell you, here's your new balance, and it'll give you the instructions on how you can check your balance, how you can send crypto to other people using SMS. It is really that simple. And again, so think about it. I can send you 10 cents. I could send you 1 cent. I could send you a fraction of a cent. And you could be, by the way, anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are. There's no currency conversion. There's no waiting for banks to be open. There's no windows for wire transfers to happen or batch processing or anything like that. I can send anybody in the world as small or as large a transaction size as is imaginable just by sending a text. So I know there's a lot of complexity around crypto, but it is literally as easy as sending a text. If you can send a text, then you can send and receive crypto. So thank you for your time, and I will be back tomorrow. Not sure what the topic is going to be. And I really would appreciate feedback on this video. Again, my goal is to provide useful information. I want people to thrive. I want people to be prepared through this crisis. And, sometimes I can go into too much detail or be a little bit more complex than is necessary. And so, please tell me if there's something that I didn't explain properly, or if you want some additional information. I want to continue to improve and make these videos more useful. Thank you for your time.